Good morning, class ninth. Welcome back to your biology class. I hope you all are fine. Today we are going to study our third chapter in biology, but 15th in your NCERT book, that is improvement in food resources. As you can see, it's improvement, and in which we are going to improve in food resources. Means the resources, whichever resource is giving us food, we are trying to improve that for enhancing the production. Okay, so some of the techniques, methods, management, we will study about that in this chapter. But first of all, I would like to share the updated syllabus as it is reduced, and you must be happy for that. So these are the topics in this chapter: plant breeding, animal breeding, selection for quality improvement and management, use of fertilizers and manures, protection from pests and diseases, organic farming. In this lecture, we will study about plant breeding and use of fertilizers and manures and some part of this selection for quality improvement. First of all, let us start from the basic. Why we need energy? Why we need food? Right? As you know, each and every activity we do, we need energy to perform that activity. Similarly, we need food for that energy only, right? And your food contains so many nutrients like carbohydrate, fat, vitamin, minerals that they are needed in different functions. Like carbohydrates and fats are providing energy, so your proteins are providing body building quality, you can say, or it's a bodybuilding food. It helps to make new cell, repair the worn out one, right? Then if we talk about your vitamins and minerals, so these are the components which help us to protect from various diseases. So each and every component of food have its own role, and for that we are working here, right? So we need food to get these nutrients to keep us healthy. It allows us to develop properly, and it enhance our growth, right? It enhance our immunity, which will help us to fight the diseases. So here let us discuss about resources. The main sources of food are called resources of food, right? So plant and animal. Plants, that means which are obtained from the agriculture. In short, the whole process of producing food is called agriculture, but for our convenience, agriculture is for the plant production, crop production. Animal husbandry is for the animal production or animal food. Okay. So here the efficiency of crops and livestock is required in India. Why? Because we have a good population, and to fulfill the need of each and every individual present in the population, we need to enhance the production of food so that we can meet each and everyone's need. The agricultural land is limited. If we have limited resources and we need more and more production, so what we do, we always try to improve, to enhance the quantity along with the quality of the product, so that in small area large production can be observed. Yes, there are some of the examples of the crops and their value, means what these crops are providing. So whenever we talk about cereals, they are carbohydrate rich crops like wheat, rice, maize, right? So pulses are protein rich. They are exclusively rich in proteins. gram, black gram, green gram, pigeon pea, lentil. Oil seeds. The name is clearing. Oil, it contains oil. So there are some seeds which are specially used for production of oil. They are called oil seed, like your soybean, groundnut, sesame, mustard oil, right? And they all provide us fat. Similarly, if we talk about vegetables, spices, fruits, they are providing us vitamin, minerals, and small amount of carbohydrate and fat, some amount of protein, but they are good source of mineral and vitamins. Fodder crop. Fodder crop means the crop which provide food for our animals, livestock, right? So they are barsim, oats. Then what they are doing? We use them for livestock. We use them as livestock food. It provides them fiber, carbohydrate, cellulose. Okay. Yes. These are some of the crops. You can see cowpea, green pea, lentils, mung bean, and your chickpea, soya bean. Yes, in India, we have different seasons to plant our crop and harvest them. There are three main seasons in which we generally sow our crops and harvest them. Kharif season is rainy season, June to October. Examples are rice, maize, millets. Rabi crop is winter crop from November to April. Soybean, pigeon pea, wheat are its example. Zaid crop are summer crop which are sown in March and harvested in June. Sugarcane, watermelon, cucumber. So these are the crops along with their season. We need different season because they require a particular kind of climate. Means some like summer, some like winter. In humans, right? These are plants. They prefer a particular kind of environment or climate for them or for their growth. So to get the bestest growth, we always try to plant them in their favorable season. That's why they are called seasonal crops. Yes, activities that leads to improvement in the crop yield. We need to take three steps. It was the previous one. Means in previous labels we elaborate each and every step and each and every step sub steps in them very nicely, but as there is reduction we will study only the main portion of it. Like crop variety improvement means we need high yield. For that we need selection, we need to do plant breeding. So how we will improve that? Crop production improvement means how we will improve it, means weed control, use of the fertilizer and manure to enhance the growth by giving good quantity of nutrients, and crop production management. Once the crop is produced, we need to manage it, we need to protect it from pest, insect. The two times in the crop life there is very high risk of destruction: when they are in the plant condition, after that when they are harvested. So in both the conditions we need to take extra care to protect our crop. Yes, crop variety improvement. In this approach, crops are selected on the basis of their characteristics. For instance, how well they can respond to fertilizers, can they produce high yield, how they resist diseases. So many questions are there. So different methods of crop variety improvement include hybridization, and it is the process in which we we artificially cross the species, the crops. Okay, so genetically different plants are crossbreed so that we will get another genetically different plant. Genetically different plant means whose genetic makeup, means whose DNA have some difference. Okay, so both different DNAs are crossed and in return they will produce the new DNA, which will result in new variety, or you can say new changes, new growth level. Everything will be rejuvenated. So there can be three kind of crossings: intervarietal, interspecific, intergeneric. The variety word is here in intervarietal, means when two varieties of plants are crossed. Specific word came from species, between two species, when two species belong to the common genera are crossed. Suppose, for example, we have Mangifera indica and Mangifera alpanso. So what will happen? Both are mango, both belongs to Mangifera, or if we cross them, so they are same in genera. Mangifera is the common genera, but their species are different. So we are crossing two different species and it is called interspecific. Intergeneric, when we cross two different genera. So there are difference in the crossing method. Means we can use two varieties, we can use two species, or we can use two genera. Yes, introduction of gene. A gene that can provide the desirable characteristics to a crop are introduced in this process. As a result, we obtain genetically modified crop. Means we know we have that long DNA that will wrap around the earth, I think 2.5 times. In single cell we have that DNA. But not each and every part or portion is functional. So if we came to know that particular portion is coding for high yield, increased grain size, right, increased number of branches, so according to the desirable character we can take that portion of gene and can introduce into our crop. So that become genetically modified crop. Means we are not going through crosses and we are not waiting for the results that now let us see which characteristic came in the new DNA. No, we are directly selecting the desirable character and introducing into the new crop. So it will result in genetically modified crops. GMO crops you have heard about. Yes. So plant breeding. Plant breeding is the purposeful, means we are doing it purposely. Okay. Purposeful manipulation. Manipulation means changes of qualities in the plant to create new varieties. Why we are creating them? With a set of desired characteristics. Means we are creating new varieties so that we will get our desired characters. What characters? Whatever character we want in our plant, we are crossing them for that thing only. Okay. So plant breeding is the purposeful manipulation of qualities in plants to create new varieties with a set of desired characteristics. Better plants with better potential, means plants with good characteristics are selected by breeders and crossed to obtain plants with improved quality. Actually, plant breeding is the science which deals with the improvement of crop varieties. Okay, so improvement of crop varieties can be you can say create with genetic potential in crop plant. Means we will incorporate those characters which are genetically potent in one crop plant for better and higher yield. Yield means production. Okay, so there are some factors on which your crop yield generally depends. Seed used by the farmer, whether seed is good or not, it's good variety, genetically modified or simple one, but it should be very nice in variety and quality. Climate or weather condition. Crops that can sustain diverse climatic condition, means whether it is drought condition, whether it is heavy rain, your crop should be physically able to manage stress condition. For them, stress is various kind of climate or unfavorable conditions. Okay. Yes, the duality of the soil means crops should have the capability to manage the number of ranges of saline soil. Means your soil content may contain salt. That salt content may increase in different kind of soil. So your crop should be able to manage these kind of changes in salinity of the soil. Availability of water. Crop should be grown as per availability of water in the region. Means if we have that region where there is scarcity of water, we should grow those crops there which need very less quantity of water, so that we can manage the water, or you can say we can manage the irrigation techniques. So there are some factors for which, means why we are working on the improvement. So there are some of the characters listed here for which we are working hard, like higher yield. First requirement is more and more and more production. So higher yield is one of the first character, or one of the important character to be incorporated in the new crop to increase the productivity of crop per acre. Yes, improved quality. The quality consideration of crop product may vary from crop to crop. Baking quality is important for wheat. Property, your protein property in the pulses, means the level of protein is considered here. Oil quantity in the oil seed plus their quality. And fruits and vegetable, to long last, we try to incorporate preservation quality in them, so that your crop, after detaching it from the plant or picking it from the plant, can survive for longer time period. Biotic and abiotic resistance. Resistance means to stop something, to oppose, right? Biotic contain living beings, so it may be disease, insect, nematodes. And if we talk about abiotic, means no life, so those which do not have life, means non-living beings, and these kind of stresses we should be resistance, we should create resistance against them, right? Like drought, salinity, waterlogging, heat, cold, frost, these kind of stresses I'm talking about. Varieties resistant to these stresses can be improved with the help of new modified crop. Okay. Change in maturity duration. The shorter the duration of the crop from sowing to harvesting, the more economical is the variety. Means when it takes less time for a crop to grow, it will become more economical. We will get our land emptied soon. We can sow more crops there. So what will happen if the crop have this quality to develop in short period of time up to its fullest growth? We will get number of rounds. We can grow one crop set, then harvest them, then grow another crop set, then the next one. So this will help us to produce more and more. Means in 3 months we were getting only one set, now in 3 months we are getting two or three. So it will be a good sign. Change in maturity duration, right? So I hope you are getting why I'm talking about maturity. And one more thing is required. We should have those crops and should use those seeds which have uniform maturity. Uniform maturity means when we sow our seeds, they should grow together, they should be developed together, so that they become mature on time and all of them are harvested at the same time. In some cases there is non-uniform maturity. In these kind of cases, what will happen, some of the crops will develop and mature for harvesting, on the other hand some are not. So it will become hard or very difficult for the farmer to decide what to do, how to choose each and every matured one and to leave the immature. So that is why uniform maturity is required. Wider adaptability. Adaptability means to adapt the conditions. So developing varieties for wider adaptability will help to stabilizing the crop production under different environmental condition. Okay. One variety can then be grown under different kind of climatic conditions because they can resist to different stresses of that area. Desirable agronomic characteristic. Agronomic word came from agriculture. So what are the agronomic characteristic? First is tallness. The plant should be tall, but not that much tall that it takes all the nutrients to grow only. Okay, it should have profuse branching because branching enhance flowering, flowering enhance the number of grain, the number of fruits, right? So it should have profuse branching. These are some of the characteristics. Dwarfness is desired in cereals. Dwarfness means the plant should be grown to up to some height. That height should not be too much. Why we are desiring this? Because it will help plant to secure nutrient for the growth of grains, not only the height. Okay, thus developing varieties of desired agronomic characteristics help to give them higher productivity. Question may come like this: why do we need to perform a crop variety improvement? You can write in points or you can put headings over them. Both the way of writing are totally correct. Okay. Yes. Now, what happens if plants lack in these nutrients? The nutrients are on your screen. These are, I think, 16 nutrients and they all are important, essential one. The yield may be affected as plant wouldn't be able to reproduce. Let me link it with us. As we know, vitamin A, if it is deficient, it will cause night blindness. If vitamin C is less in quantity, it will cause scurvy. Vitamin B1 is beriberi. Means deficiency of a particular kind of vitamin will cause some kind of deficiency diseases, right? Similarly, in plants, if these nutrients or any of these nutrient lack, it will affect the growth of plant and plant can easily catch diseases. The nutrients that are required in large quantities are called macronutrients. Macro word is for large. On the other hand, the nutrients that are required in small quantities by the plant are called micronutrient. That means they are required in very small quantity, micro. How can we increase the yield? By providing all nutrients to the plant. Means what we can do to ensure the proper nutrient management. So we can provide them with manure and fertilizers. And the use of manure and fertilizers can be changed according to the crop type. Manure contains large quantities of organic matter and also supplies small quantities of nutrients to the soil. So manure are produced from the animal dung, oil pills and so many things which are present in our natural environment, you can say. It will add bulk to the manure, your soil, and it improves the soil structure. It improves the water holding capacity of the soil in case of sandy soil, and in case of clay soil, the large quantity of organic matter made them porous. Porous means they create spaces between the soil particles which help water to easily pass through. It will not allow water to retain. Okay, this avoids waterlogging. In using manure, we use biological waste material, which is advantageous in protecting our environment from excessive use of fertilizer. Fertilizers are to the point nutrient, but still they are very harmful because in higher quantity of anything we will get some kind of disturbance in the physiology of the plant. That's why we generally prefer manure. Using biological waste material is also a way of recycling the waste. Based on kind of biological material we are using for producing the manure, We can categorize into two types: compost and vermicompost. Green manure. Compost. Compost is produced from the organic matter. In this condition, we left the organic matter in the open surrounding, in the presence of soil, water, sun, everything will be there, and then they will start composting, means decomposing the matter. The process in which farm waste material like livestock excreta, cow dung, etc., vegetable waste, animal refuse, domestic waste, sewage waste, straw, eradicated weeds, etc., are decomposed in pits is known as composting. But this composting is done with natural process, mean we are using only natural resources like sun, air, right? Then soil, we are using them only, water, only them. These all are natural ones. So we are calling them composting. But when we take someone's help, we are supposed to give honor to them. So vermi word is for worm, and we are talking about red worms or earthworms. These earthworm and red worms are helping us to produce compost. Actually, the first product compost is produced by composting, and the process of composting is taking more time than the vermicomposting, because here the worms help us to digest or decompose the matter, organic matter, and it will enhance its timing, means it will enhance or it will make it to perform this process in small period of time. Yes, the compost is rich in organic matter and nutrients. Compost is also prepared by using earthworm to hasten the process, means to fasten it. As your earthworm starts eating it and the matter starts decomposing fast, whether it is plant or animal refuse. This is called vermicompost. As I told you, we need to give some honor to them. So we add vermi, and the process is called vermicomposting. So here is the difference between both. A manure which is prepared from waste material such as cow dung, sewage, vegetable waste, domestic waste is called compost. A manure that is prepared by using earthworm, but the material is same: cow dung, sewage, leaf waste, vegetable waste. Earthworm work on them. Okay. Compost may take about 3 to 6 months, while vermicompost is taking only 1 to 2 months for the formation. The microbes decay matter and manure is formed. Earthworm reduces matter in case of vermicompost, and compost is formed. That's why the process is fast in case of vermicomposting. Green manure. The word green means green plants. When we sow crop, before that what we do, there are some plants whose plant pot is not required after taking the desired product from them. So what we do, there are some plants like sun hump, guar, they are grown, and after growing they are mulched, means they are taken off, harvested, cut into small pieces, or in some cases they are directly thrown on the surfaces or ground. Then they are crushed by the help of tractor and other equipments and which are used in agricultural practices. So by ploughing them, we mulch them. Then these green plants converted into green manure, and they will enrich the soil with nitrogen and phosphorus, which will help in the good growth of the next crop. These are some of the example: cluster bean, cowpea. Okay, these are used for the production of the green manure, or you can say they are used as green manure. Fertilizers, they are commercially produced plant nutrient. As I told you, they are to the point nutrient, means if we want nitrogen, we can take that. If we want phosphorus, directly phosphorus can be obtained, and if we want potassium, we can obtain potassium as well. So they are to the point fertilizers or nutrients. Okay, fertilizers supply nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Then They are used to ensure good vegetative growth, whether it is of leaves, branches, flowers. They give rise to healthy plants. Fertilizers are one of the factor in high yield of high cost farming. Means fertilizers are costly and they make the agriculture costly, means high cost is required for agriculture. Fertilizers should be applied carefully. There are some precautions when we fertilize our land or plants. Very first is fertilizer should be carefully applied in proper dose. Means if we need one packet, small packet of fertilizer for 2 acre or 1 acre, we should know about it. Okay, we should provide it in proper dose at proper time, and we should observe pre and post application precautions. Means before, pre means before applying we should take precautions, and after applying what precautions should be taken, we are supposed to go through them nicely for its complete utilization. For example, sometimes fertilizers get washed away due to excessive irrigation. If we apply fertilizer and irrigate our field a lot, what will happen? Due to excessive watering, that waters run off and that fertilizer will run off too along with that water. So what will happen? We will become in you can say we will face a loss of fertilizers, plus our plants will not get proper nutrients. Secondly, this runoff fertilizer will cause water pollution. It will also cause our soil to, you can say, degenerate, or it will harm our soil. Actually, continuous use of fertilizers in an area can destroy the soil structure or its fertility. Means soil will lose its self replenishing property because the organic matter in the soil is not replenished, and microorganisms in the soils are harmed too by the use of fertilizers. They will become die. Okay, short-term benefits of using fertilizers and long-term benefits of using manure for maintaining soil fertility have to be considered. We are supposed to compare both the things, and accordingly we should apply on our land so that we will get optimum yield in the crop production. There are two kinds of fertilizers. One are organic fertilizers, which are obtained by the natural resources only, that is limestone, rock, phosphate. On the other hand, artificial fertilizers are produced in laboratories or factories. They are ammonium nitrate, potassium sulfate. Difference between fertilizers and manure. Fertilizers are inorganic substances, manure are organic substances. Fertilizers are obtained by chemical substances, manures are obtained by biological substances like natural substances, cattle dung, human waste, plant residues. Fertilizers are produced in factories, manures are produced in field. A fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil. Manure provides a lot of humus to the soil. Nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium are found in large quantities. Nutrients like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus are not found in large quantities. Excessive use of fertilizer make the soil less fertile because organic matter is not decomposed. Excessive use of manure not at all harm the soil and its fertility. It will enhance, it will enrich the nutrients. It becomes source of water pollution when we use lots and lots of fertilizer. But excessive use of manure improves the soil texture, water retaining capacity, water holding capacity, and it also, you can say, it also avoids waterlogging. So these are the benefits of your manure. Thank you so much. In case if you find any doubt, you can simply ask me, and try to go through these notes in your NCERT book too.